Saji, nice to see you.
Nice to be here again, Peter.
Thank you. Let's start off where we left off and answer some questions. Is that okay?
All right. Sounds good to me.
Okay, we have 3 chapters to do. We're going to do chapter 10, 11, and 12.
Awesome.
And chapter 10, we left a question called Getting to Trust. And the question was that we just learned about principles. And the question was, are you a dependent person? And that would be a paradigm of me, and you take care of me. Or are you an independent person? That's the paradigm of I am responsible for myself and for my decisions and my actions. Or do you have an interdependent personality? That's the paradigm of we, where together we can accomplish a lot more. So the question was to think about a time that you move from being dependent to being independent. And then think about a second time when you move from being independent to interdependent. And so I thought about my week, and I had a great example of moving from dependent to independent. And that was when I had to visit the ear doctor. Since the last time I saw you, I got swimmer's ear. And it hurt so bad. And I looked up a doctor, and he could see me on Monday morning. And I was very dependent walking into that doctor's office because I was concerned that I had damaged my ear. He cleaned out my ears, he looked at them, and he said, "You're going to be fine. Here's some ear drops." I called him into the Rite Aid. You go pick them up, put them in 3 times a day, come see me in 2 weeks. So when I left the office, I came in as dependent and I left as independent. And independent, I was responsible for picking up the ear drops at the Rite Aid. I was responsible for making sure that I administer them 3 times a day. I'm responsible for following up and going back to see the doctor. So there's a great example of moving from dependent to independent. And the second example of moving from independent to interdependent is my current fundraising activity with the Multiple Myeloma Foundation for the Ironman that I'm going to do on July 23rd. And this is the third year that I'm with the team raising money for the Multiple Myeloma Foundation. Previous to that, I was just a participant in the Ironman, not raising money, really not having a purpose. Now I have a purpose to raise money, and I'm doing it with other people, and I'm affecting so many other people. So I've gone from being an independent participant to being an interdependent participant.
Okay. Wow, that's a good principle.
So those are the 2 examples. So if you're just joining us, we're going to start with the lesson part of the video, and that's really to talk about the takeaways, the key takeaways in chapter 10, 11, and 12. In chapter 10, it's entitled Getting to Trust. And getting to trust is really looking at the 3 paradigms of being dependent, independent, and interdependent. And when I'm teaching those 3 concepts, what I would tell people is that everyone is dependent at some point in their job. There's some point in their career. When you start a new role as a parent, you're dependent. When you start a new role in a job, you're dependent. The key to dependency is not to stay there. There's some people that stay there. There's some 25-year-olds that still live with their parents and don't have a job. That's being a little bit too dependent. So everyone starts out being dependent, but you have to move on, and move on quickly. And when you move on to becoming independent. And we've mentioned before about holding your own remote control, and that's being independent. Independent, the key word, the number 1 key word that I want you to remember is initiative. And initiative is the buzzword, is the trademark of an independent person. Because you need initiative to have a purpose, to find your purpose. You need initiative to set your goals. You need initiative to take action on your goals. You need initiative to make good decisions. And I think that's the key to an independent person. And the last area is really the highest area, and it's called interdependence. Interdependence is actually one of the 3 principles at Mid-Atlantic Rubber Company. And interdependence is all about teamwork. It's all about synergy and 2 or more independent people working together to accomplish something far greater than any one individual could do themselves. And this is really where principle-centered and other-focused people hang out. They hang out in the realm of being interdependent.
Wow, that's awesome. So let me just ask you, how about people, people who say, I think I'm better off just by myself. Like when you put me in a team environment, they slow me down. How do such people, how can they be a team player? Especially if they're used to getting results by themselves.
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. I think there's less and less places for people that don't want to be a team player, because if you think about it, everything happens because of relationships, and if you cannot have relationships, if you cannot build relationships, you can never get to synergy. And synergy is not bringing a bunch of individuals together that aren't going to talk to each other. Synergy is about bringing people together that have differences and have them work together to create something far better than any one of them could create. So I think if someone isn't able to work with people in a team environment, then they're going to have a really tough time finding a job in the workplace.